KANGOOK frame, and we're going to put an Atom 80 on it once I figure out which way to open it up. Alright, this is the classic frame, and I think it's going to be perfect for what I want to do with the para-camping. Way to be more fuel efficient. I'm going to put the Atom 80 on this. I've had that motor before and I really liked it. That's what it looks like when you unpack it. This is the 16-liter tank, and this is more for cross-country. Install the engine. So the pull start connection, looks like it goes on one of those tubes, was wrapped up in some of that brown paper, so be careful that you don't throw that away by accident. So these are the M8, 15 millimeters long. Got 4 of those. I have the 20s, but they're too long. I want these to be able to fit in so that they bottom out on that vibration resistant nut that's going to be on the other side that's mounted to the Atom 80. So the Atom 80 comes with the nut that these fit into. So these are M8 15s. We don't want it to be too long. The 20s are too long, but if you had enough washers, I think you could still make those work and still get them to tighten up all the way. We want those to go as deep into that nut to where they bottom out, but not to have any play on this side. Now I've already put on the throttle and the kill switch. This fuel line is not what I'm going to go on there. I just put it on just to look at length and stuff. I've got another one. Now let's run this one down. So I'm using this to kind of get those into place first. We may put a little Loctite on there later on, or at least that wax that goes on the outside to make sure if it breaks loose, we can see it when it breaks loose. There we go. All right, I like that. There we go. Just a drop or two in there, and I'm going to run that back down, and I'll put some more on the outside of this so I can see if it shakes loose, if it vibrates loose at all. This is similar to what you see here. So I'll put some more on so that it dries and I can see if it turns or torques. This is our primer bulb. It's got some black fuel line, not car fuel line, but it's 1/4 inch. So this is what I bought. And I have some auto fuel line, which I like. So this is going to go on here, and then we'll put the fuel filter in between that, and then we'll put the primer bulb on. So I want the fuel filter, I want to be able to see it, and I want the primer bulb probably up here somewhere so that it's not in the way of the swing arms, so I can get in there and work on it. So I just wanted to kind of look at this and see if it's going to be in the location I want it. Not so snug that I collapse that plastic fuel filter. All right, good. So I'm going to go ahead and put the other piece on with the primer bulb. Where I zip tie these down, I'm just going to make sure everything connects and that it's the length that I want it. All right, that looks good. Now we're going to go. So since this frame is black, I'm going to use black zip ties. Make sure that your primer bulb is going in the right direction. I do that almost every time I put one on, is I'll put it going in the wrong direction and have to switch it out. That one. Now, I haven't broken in this engine. Another thing that you want to be mindful of when you, especially if you're not getting the engine already mounted, like you didn't purchase it that way, is there is right inside here a little foam packet when it comes from the factory. Often when you get it from a manufacturer, they'll take that out so that you don't have any problem starting it, because it won't suck any air through that air intake. So this is a right-hand throttle, but I like a left-hand throttle so I can use my right hand when I'm in the air. So I had to put this little piece on here because the cable was too short, but I still wanted to use it. So I just soldered that on to the end and then kind of grinded it down so that that piece would fit here and lock into place. These are the 2 wires that are going to come out of the throttle cable. And so I just took a waterproof connection and soldered those together because I needed a longer line on one, because again, it was a right-hand throttle. One of the wires that I soldered on with the connection, here's another connection. So it's right there. And then the other one is screwed on with a Allen wrench. Got a tie down on it, we're gonna cut that off. That's just to prevent it from going back down in there, so it's got that tie down so it doesn't. All right, we're gonna mount the pull start, and we wanna center that up over. So that is an H3. Get this centered up to where it needs to go. We'll mount that to the frame. Let's go ahead and tension this bottom one down just a little bit, just to get it even with the start position. So it looks like they had that set with just an overhand knot. That's what it looks like. I'm gonna run this down. I'm gonna pull a little bit out. I'm gonna do a figure 8 on a butt, so I don't have to worry about it loosening up. So I'm gonna go over those 2 strands, under, and back through the top, just like you would in climbing. And then if you want to check your work, let me pull some of that out so it's tightened up. Should have 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. That's what you would clip into with your carabiner if you were doing a figure 8 on a bite to clip into something. So for the excess amount of line, I just wrapped it around a few times. It came around like this. I'm gonna bring these so that they're parallel. I'm gonna wrap this down. I think I'll do a double fisherman's knot, something that other people will be familiar with, especially if you fish. Run that in there. I just don't want any excess hanging out, and that'll allow me to kind of adjust and move that up and down, but I don't have to worry about it really coming untied because I've got my double figure 8 there on a butt. And that should keep anything out of my way. So when I crank that, it's going to be hanging loose, but I don't have to worry about it touching anything. So I took that bolt back out, took the throttle pull cable out so that I could get these wires. I felt like the throttle and the electronic wires to the kill switch should be closer to the frame, and that this should be closer to the engine so the two don't come in contact. Now I haven't wired those down yet, but what I'm going to do is come up here and take this off. I just want to, the reason I'm not using my knife is I don't want to take the chance of cutting that, but I'm going to cut this. I think I can do it easier by just cutting that attachment point off and not getting anywhere close to the wire. So now I don't have to worry about that retracting and falling back in there because it's attached to the handle. So we've got some of the skinny black tie downs. We're going to take those wires just to make sure they don't come in contact with anything. We're going to tie those down to the frame. Stainless steel bar from KANGOOK. And so you've got your spacers that are going to come with it, bolt that comes with it, with a nylon threaded locking nut. I put one of these on so that I could get these off easy and then just wire those on. But I'll probably put some nylon locking nuts because I'll probably just keep this one assembled. So this piece goes around and it's going to thread up and through so that it cinches down. This piece right here, this little knob, is going to come all the way through and lock down. Now, anyway, there's how it's set up. This piece is going to slide down and on, and then you can take your carabiner and lock it into place. On the right side comes with this offset, so we'll have to put that on. The one that goes on the left side does not have the offset, and so these are a metric 8 and M8 bolt, and they come with the swing arm kit if you buy it from KANGOOK. It's going to have a little washer that fits in each one of these. This is going to insert on the inside, and then you'll run your bolt through it. So it's going to have a washer that's going to run in on that side. So that's how you're going to mount the offset. All right, that's what I'm gonna put on the inside. Nylon locking nut, vibration dampening washer, and then a washer. And that's gonna go on the inside of the frame. These into place. We'll cinch those bad boys down. Yeah, 6M. Yeah, that's a 6. And 13 wrench here, 13 metric. So that thread locker I'll put on the inside there. Washer. And then nylon locking nut. Again, I don't want it to be super tight where you can't move. All right, let's go ahead and get the harness on before we attach it to the swing arms. I've already got it attached to one side, but let's go ahead. So you notice there's a space between where the pull start is and this area here. The harness is going to attach to. I'll run that down, and then we'll double back this. There we go. Let's double back. Get that in there. I gotta create some space. There we go. Now, this is not required, but I do it just so I don't have a lot of stuff flopping around. As I'll insert that, it's gonna pull it through here. Not required. Probably not gonna see that on any other harness install. But I can cinch this down. I don't want to make it too tight over here because I'll cinch it down on the other side. I want to give it a little bit of play so I'm not sunk over on one side. All right, got that down. Now we're going to repeat the process on the other side. Place this pin here on that side. Slide the pin through. I'll show you why I did that in just a second. Run this down. So these kind of lock in. You kind of feel it lock in. Once you get it secure, then you'll bring this pin in, run it through that hole, but make sure it runs through. Run it from the inside out. Right? Take this, run it around, and now we have our safety strap that needs to go on. So I'm going to turn that so that when it goes on, it'll turn and face. Right? So that we've got this part facing outward and that it's not bound up, it's not twisted. We're going to do the same thing opposite side. Has more of a square peg. So I started there first and then I snapped it in up here at the top. This one's more rounded. And then I inserted that one in. I had the bottom one out just a little bit and it just kind of snapped them into place. Let's tighten that bad boy down. All right, that looks good. All right, that one's in. Let's count these. See how many we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 attachments. There are M6 bolts, 55 millimeters long. We're going to go ahead and put the prop on. The wording or the label should be towards you. So I'm going to do that for each one. I'm going to run these down finger tight. And this is a 5 hex head. We'll get the torque wrench out. I think it's 8 Newton meters, 8 to 10 Newton meters. I could be wrong. Don't hold me to that. Oh, torque, 8 Newton meters right here on the prop. So I'm just going to give it a little twist by hand, but not too tight. And then I'll break out my torque wrench. I'm going to do a hang check first. Kind of see how everything's balanced out. Good. It feels good. Those feel like they're right up underneath my armpits where they should be. Gonna be perfect for para camping. Put some gear over here. Don't have to worry about it going past those bars. I really like having a bar right there by my elbow. That's good. I feel protected from the prop. Like it's gonna hit something if anything torques or twists or comes undone. Good.